our youngest son, wonderful young man, kind to other people, very humble person. Right before his senior year of high school, he started developing some pain in his shoulder that showed a tumor in his upper arm. Turned out that it was osteosarcoma. I'm Roger Canavy, and I am the co-founder of Dan's House of Hope and the father of Dan, who is the visionary for Dan's House of Hope. Dan was originally treated in Milwaukee at the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. Thought we were in the best place, learned too late that we weren't. When Milwaukee ran out of options for Dan, he wasn't ready to give up, and we came down to Houston to search for other options. Dan was of the feeling that even if somebody else learned something from the trials that he went through and the efforts that he went through that that benefited somebody down the road, that'd be a good thing. Ultimately, although MD Anderson taught us the value of the blessing that each and every day is and to enjoy today, and they prolonged his life, they ran out of options as well. So there was a trial drug made in the U.S., but all the FDA trials were closed, so Dan couldn't get it here. Went to the Philippines, in the Manila area. And it was while he was over there at this small clinic that was treating maybe a dozen patients from the U.S. and Canada. And all of these patients were staying together in the same hotel. On a Friday evening, the doctors and nurses would take the patients out for some social time, cultural events, and learn a little about the local culture. And it really hit home with Dan. It's like, this is what we need. We need something that's for my age group, folks that can come together and support each other and be part of a community. Nothing out there for the older teens, 20-somethings, and into their 30s. Dan started brainstorming with his mom. Well, what would it look like? Dawn asked him, and he said, well, I have a large, always open kitchen, a good sound system. We're still working on that part. And she says, kind of like a frat house? And he goes, yeah, I don't know that we're really a frat house, but that was Dan's vision. He said when he still believed that he was going to be able to continue to fight, he said when we get back to Texas, we need to do something like that for my age group. Unfortunately, he passed after about 3 months in the Philippines. 3 months after he passed, we were incorporated. A few months after that, approved as a 501c3. We'll be having our 10-year anniversary next year.
10 years later, the impact that he is having still through you guys is pretty incredible.
And obviously it changes your focus and your understanding of what's important in life. It was about trying to make a difference in somebody else's life. It's walking the same path that we walk. The anxiety and the pain and the fear that comes with it. Our mission is to ease isolation, decrease financial burden, and nourish hope. And our first couple of years, the focus was on teaching young adults to be advocates for themselves. We're ignorant of the cancer world. We didn't know as soon as the doctor said, well, this is the way it is. It's like, oh, well, they're a doctor. They must know what they're talking about. Doctors are human beings too, and they're not perfect. They're not always right. If we had things to do over again, we don't. We would have asked more questions. We would have challenged the doctors and asked why more often. We would have pushed for a second opinion. Our mission early on was to train and educate primary care physicians. It's like, don't wait so long. Don't rule out the hard stuff. And that's natural progression, I think, for a doctor. If that process goes on too long, then that delayed diagnosis can lead to a poor prognosis. And a couple years later, we started offering some apartment space here in Houston. That served one leg of our mission, helping with the financial burden, but it didn't provide community. I don't feel that it nurtured any hope. That was in 2012 that we started doing that. At the end of 2013, Dan's House of Hope was able to purchase this property.
The first time we came here, it was like a hug. Like it's comfortable. It doesn't feel like you're in someone else's space, but it also doesn't feel like you're in a hotel.
When people come through the door, the biggest compliment we get is like, it feels like I'm coming home. It doesn't feel like a commercial type of facility. It doesn't feel like a hotel or an apartment building. It feels like a home. And hopefully when you have had other folks here, it's been helpful to be able to share stories and talk with others.
The opportunity for an outlet to say this is what's happening to us, and then to have another person say I get it in support group setting is very needed. My best friend was at the house. She's the one who originally called you guys. Y'all were the only place that called back that had an opening.
Our mission is for adolescent and young adults, so older teens up to a maximum age of 39, plus their caregivers. We are a small bed and breakfast type of community, so folks that stay with us have to be comfortable in a community setting. Minimum, typically about a week stay, up to a couple of months, but that's all negotiable depending on what our reservation system looks like. If we can work it out, we will actually reserve the room, and if that means that a room stays open for a couple of days while we're waiting for the next person to come, then we're okay with that, because we know how hard it is for folks that are trying to manage their treatment, that you shouldn't have to worry about your house.